I guess I was really excited to be last and sort of like, it's an opportunity to close and bring in all these things together. But, now that I'm here, I just feel like, wow, what an amazing day it's been. And, is there anything new that can be said? Maybe I can say it in a different way. But yeah, it's a huge privilege to be here. And like Nandra, I just want to thank you guys for being here and thank you for bringing it all together. I'm Waveney, and I guess I'm here because a few years ago my husband and I, we challenged ourselves to live for 1 year without creating any waste. And since then, that was back in 2008, since then we've continued more or less in a rubbish-free or a zero-waste lifestyle. So I guess that's our small way of challenging the life. My background in social change, I guess, started right here 2 decades ago, roughly, give or take, completing a BA in sociology, and that was such a mind-opener for me. I was a pretty sheltered girl from a small country town, and I left that 3 years later really keen to change the world. I was ready to go. I signed every petition I could get my hands on, and I went on all the rallies, and what it mostly translated to is actually really unglamorously working in poorly insulated small NGOs for most of my 20s and early 30s, working with unruly, disenfranchised youth. And that's a really awesome, it was a really awesome thing, but it sort of did turn out that wasn't really my calling. And I guess then later, at 33, really belatedly, I realised that my consumption and my lifestyle was actually really compromising the planet's continued ability to support life. Just these normal day-to-day things I was doing, and that was bang, that was another moment, another shock. And almost immediately, my husband Matthew, who spoke earlier, as the sponsor, that is, we almost immediately challenged ourselves publicly to this year of no rubbish, and that attracted more media interest than we thought, and also it was harder than we thought, and so suddenly we're on this whirlwind that we managed to narrowly escape without embarrassing ourselves too much. At the end of the year we had one sort of supermarket bag of 2 kgs of rubbish. And since then we've continued to advocate for the power of consumer power and role model, and continue to try and live rubbish-free. So what's my theory of change? I tell you now, spoiler alert, it's not very grand, and I made actually be hungry when I developed this theory, because it's all based around nibbling away. So I guess after a lot of thought, it did come down to just, it's a 3-point theory. Keep nibbling, nibble at what you like, nibble the bits that you like, and thirdly, accept others who nibble differently to yourself. And I think those are things that have come through. Actually, it's kind of controversial in the way that at first glance it can seem a little bit anti-strategy, but yeah, I actually don't think, I think we can really synthesise some of the thoughts we've had together on that. So I'm going to now expand on this theory of nibbling. So the first point, keep nibbling, Nikki and Jeff and others have talked about, this is a really complex problem. And the weird thing about this that Nikki mentioned is that you can't have an action that equals an outcome. You can't necessarily know. Like imagine if, when you walked up Simon Street, you only sometimes got to the start of K Road. Like, just that would really suck. And yet that is actually the situation we're in. It's really discouraging sometimes. And that's where this sort of just keep nibbling comes from it, because, actually we might not know what exactly the outcome would be of an action, but we do know that every action has an outcome. And we also know that if we don't plant anything, we're not going to grow anything. So those are some things that we do know. And we also know that this complex system that we're part of can change and actually does have tipping points, which is something that other speakers have covered. So that means that it's not always the slow and steady thing. And when you showed your graph, Nikki, I actually felt quite emotional. I had an emotional reaction to that because it's a real feeling of hope. Like, that we can plug away, and then we suddenly get to these points, and actually heaps of things can change. So just keep nibbling. My second point is nibble the bits you like, which is, I'm not saying that we can't say that there's better ways of working it, there's some things that are strategic that we should be focusing on. But I guess what we could say is maybe all the politicians are apples, and we decide, yes, that's the best strategy is to be an apple. But what if I'm standing here and I'm a banana? It's like, if I try and be an apple, it's probably not the best use of my energy. And so I'm going to try and be the best banana that I can. Maybe you're just really passionate about sewing or counting, or maybe you just really want to make compost. And this is kind of flying in the face of some of the things we've talked about today, but I guess I'm saying that the most effective thing you can do personally is to really find your passion and to let that really just believe in the power of that, and follow your nose to extent, be creative, and really grasp hold of the power that you have. We're all unique, and we all have this different contribution we can make, notwithstanding that we need to pay attention to the great minds that have been standing here today and the incredible books that we can read that really inform our practice. I guess that kind of leads on to the third point, which was that has also come through a bit today, which is around accepting people that do it differently to yourself. And they can kind of, you think, there's a range of theories and ideas of people that I'm really accepting of. In fact, we often really celebrate diversity and really enjoy that diversity. But I guess I'm saying a little deeper than that there is always people that are working in this together that we find challenging. But at the end of the day, some of us are going to be more comfortable with walking into a room full of suits and champagne, and others are going to be much more comfortable walking into a room full of dreads and ganja. That's just the way we are, and then maybe not going to be comfortable in either of those settings, but let's just embrace that and just work with it. I guess that's my, it's nice, it's nice to accept others, but we haven't come here today to talk about nice, it's not the theory of nice fooey. I see this as strategy. I think diversity is strategy, and divided we fall. This is a complex problem, and if we all work, if we all act, right? I'm not just talking about us in New Zealand. We've got people all over the world all acting, millions of people acting. What happens when we all act together? Guess what? It's complex. And I just love that balance, because we've been talking about the complexity of the system, and if we can have a strategy that is essentially really complex because of our diversity, then I think that's a really cool way to actually impact on the system. We've got lots of nibblers from lots of different angles. I guess if I move on to how I would put that into practice for myself, this is a really personal theory for me. It's something that I've basically just worked through because I started off when I was 33 and I had this sense of, oh my gosh, I need to change everything. I felt really disempowered, and I felt like I didn't know where to start. So I guess for me, it was around making up a way in my own life that I could just get going and start and just act and make a difference. I guess if I'm going to be honest, I get bored with lobbying and law reform and stuff, and really, it just doesn't get me going, doesn't light me up. And with activism too, like proper frontline activism, it really scares me. And then I'm not very good at making and innovating, so I'm probably not going to get into the whole business sphere and provide any new green technology. But, you know, so where does that leave me? You know, what's the bit that I can nibble at? And I guess I just want to encourage each of you, there's something, right? And so for me, it was just, well, what's left? And I was like, oh, you know what, I know what's left. It's the 4.2 million Kiwis that need to change the way they think and buy stuff. And that's really, I feel it is really significant, and that's the thing that I'm passionate about, is communicating and providing some sort of interruption. It's just so normal to buy cheap, planet-destroying, disposable stuff. And I guess the challenge that we've done has provided me with this opportunity to interrupt what's normal, and it's for the first time. Often I'm talking to people, it's the first time they've thought about it, and that's awesome. I love being in that space where I can connect with people and hopefully plant some seeds and get them to really think about what they could be doing differently. And it has given me personally a platform to, through groups like this and through other media opportunities to communicate with hundreds of thousands of people around sustainability. So I guess I found my niche. The thing that gets me going, gets me out of bed, is just trying to, we talk about direct action and mass participation and coordination. We need people. We need heaps of people, and that's the bit that gets me going. I love it. I want to also just finish off with, if there was something wrong with my theory, what would that be? Well, I think that it's the kind of, there's this anything goes approach that permeates it really, and it perhaps seems a bit anti-strategy, like I'm standing up here saying, oh, I think it's a great idea, we should just do whatever we like. And I guess I actually truly, deeply agree with pretty much everything that has been said here today, and a lot of that was around strategy and coordination and collective action. All I'm sort of adding to that, I guess, is that I don't think any one theory, and a lot of people have said this as a caveat, not any one theory will capture everything, and not everyone can jump into that box. And if you haven't heard anything today that you can connect with, then I guess all I'm adding to that is just that, if you don't fit into that box, I think that's okay. I think that there's something there that, there will be something there that will get you going, and that will actually make a change, make a difference. We are together, assembled today as a crowd, and that's the power of an assembled crowd. We can see it and we can feel it. But what about tomorrow? We'll be dissipated. We'll be a disassembled crowd, but we're as powerful. In fact, probably more powerful because we're actually doing the things that we do. So I guess I see this theory as not just a lack of coordination, but also something that we can unite over. But we're just really celebrating our diversity as we go. Thank you.